Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is our take. We are your host. My name is Ocean.
I'm Taylor.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you guys our reaction and our breakdown to Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania. This movie came out on Friday, and we've been looking forward to this movie. Does this kick off Phase 5?
Yeah.
Right? This is what kicks off Phase 5, so it's been a kind of a pretty anticipated movie, not just by us, but by a lot of people. I think you guys are going to be interested in hearing what we have to say about this movie. So, Taylor, give us a rundown of who's in this movie real quick. Obviously, Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, but there's also some other notable people in here.
Yeah, of course, we have Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, Catherine Newton, and Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. I was so happy to see Bill Murray on the screen,
cool.
dude. It was so great. So great. A lot of stars and some pretty great performances. We're gonna do this in traditional fashion, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler-free content. Grab a score for you guys, and then we'll dive into some spoilers. So, spoiler-free, Taylor. Did you enjoy this movie?
It was okay.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same. It was meh. Like there were some parts that were really great, and like there were some characters that were really great, and then there were also some things that were just like come on. So, and there's also like there's a couple things that I'll talk about in the spoiler session that kind of just irked me, and I didn't really care for it, and I didn't understand why they did it that way. But yeah, what I do think this movie does best is that it sets up a lot going forward. Like this is kind of like the catalyst for what's coming in Phase 5 and Phase 6, because we get introduced to what's gonna be the new big bad villain and whatnot. So for that reason, I think the movie is pretty solid as far as setting some stuff up goes, but the movie itself was, to me, just mid-tier. So do you think that this is something that could wait till Disney Plus, or you think this should be something that you go and watch in the theater?
Well, I do want to say, like, I think I talked about it before, but I'm not a huge Ant-Man person.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy, like, I love Paul Rudd, and Evangeline Lilly does great as the Wasp and stuff. I like them as characters, but I don't care for the movies. And this one is no different to me.
Yeah.
There is quite a bit of issues I had with it. But if I'm trying to like separate just me not caring
biased,
which is why I said it's like okay. I don't recommend watching this in the theater.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me because when we watched the trailer for this, I was pretty excited. I know you're decently excited, and one of the things that I was really excited for was the visual aspect of it. Was all the crazy things that we see down in the quantum realm, the new like species of beings and stuff. But I feel like a lot of that got overshadowed and didn't really get shown very well on screen. And so normally I would say like go watch it in the theaters because you want to see these epic visual effects and stuff in the biggest screen with the best sound.
Yeah.
And, but this one, like to me, I feel like I was missing that part of it. And so for that reason, I don't think that you really need to go rush to the theater to watch it either. I think that this could wait till Disney Plus. I guess the only thing that I would say as a reason to go watch it in the theater is if like you're somebody that like really wants to know what's gonna happen in Phase 5 and going forward, and like you've been following.
If you somehow managed to avoid
probably
all the spoilers that are online for everything all the time,
then go watch it, because experiencing the new villain on the big screen is like it's pretty good, but I don't think it's good enough to warrant the rest of the movie. So
I don't regret watching it.
Yeah.
But that's only because there was nothing else I wanted to watch.
Fair.
If there was, I think I would have probably not liked this movie more because I'd be sacrificing my time watching this than watching something else.
That's fair.
One thing I did think that was weird is I didn't see as much people come out to this as I normally do with Marvel movies.
Yeah.
When I walked out of the theater, there was like some kids, and those kids were like, "It was all right," and that was weird for me to hear.
Because usually the kids are like, "Oh,
yeah." Normally, they're just like everybody's like either super excited or, like in the case of Black Panther, everybody was kind of just like quiet because everybody's sad or whatever.
Yeah. What is the runtime on this movie?
It's like just barely over 2 hours.
Oh, okay. All right, it's not. I thought the runtime was longer because it felt long to me.
Yeah, I mean that's one problem is this movie is long, or it feels long for what it is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna dive into some scores now. Let you know, quantify our feelings here. As far as the score goes for me, I'm sitting at I'm gonna go 6 because of the villain. If it wasn't, it'd probably be lower, but because of the villain, I'll go a 6.
I'm gonna go with a quantum 5. Just put quantum in front of everything.
Quantum 5. Yeah, I was feeling a 5, but I really enjoyed Jonathan Majors' performance, so
I did too.
I'll kick it up a notch to 6. Yeah. Just so you guys know, last time I looked, Rotten Tomatoes had it at like a 48% or something like that.
Which is so weird.
Which was surprising to me, and I'm guessing that combined with some of the other reviews that have come out about it is why there wasn't such a big turnout at the theater for it. I don't know what the box office numbers are. I'm sure they are making money at least.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine.
But it's definitely not as popular as some of the more recent ones.
Do you remember if the first 2 were or not? Because I didn't watch them in theater.
I don't know the numbers because I remember when the first Antman came out, we were still in the hype of having superhero movies.
Yeah.
That was still back when all this stuff was brand new to everybody, and we were just excited to have another one. And then when the second one came out, it was in another like period like this where there was kind of a lull in movies, and it felt kind of like a filler movie, and they were just trying to like get to the next big one.
Yeah.
And this one kind of feels like that too, but they did that with coupling also introduction of the new big bad villain. So I don't know.
I mean, I feel like this whole phase is going to be that. Which,
yeah.
I mean, last phase kind of was the same.
Nah, I mean, from what I have read about it and what I know from the comments and stuff, this phase should be interesting. There should be a lot of losing going on.
Well, because it's only this movie, Guardians 3 and the Marvels.
Isn't there Doctor or something?
That's the only movies they listed for this year.
Yeah, well,
or for the phase, whatever.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited though. I'm excited about that aspect. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't seen this movie yet, if you've waited this weekend already, because this episode is gonna come out on Monday. Movie came out 3 days ago. If you've already waited to this point to go see it, you might as well wait till it comes out on Disney Plus.
It won't take very long.
Yeah, it'll probably take a couple more weeks, maybe close to a month, but might as well just wait. If you're in a situation like Taylor was, where there's like nothing else that you want to watch in the theater, but you're itching to go to the theaters, I don't think it'll be like a waste of your time. It's just not the highest priority thing to see, especially with some stuff that's coming out soon, like The Mandalorian on March 1st.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna dive into some spoilers. So, yeah, just be warned. This is your official
spoiler alert.
All right. So let's talk about Jonathan Majors, because he's kind of come onto the scene pretty abruptly. I like from the movies that I've watched and know him from. He kind of, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere, but he kind of like appeared, and now he's like, holy crap, dude, you are talented. Like you are really good at this.
You talking about like him as an actor or his character?
No, him as an actor.
Okay.
Yeah. No, because this character was introduced in Loki. Well, a variant of him was introduced in Loki, but like Jonathan Majors was in Tenet, right? Was that where he was from?
I think
No, that's
so.
David Washington.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember like other stuff that he was in going back. What did we do? We just watched something somewhat recently.
Well, Devotion came out.
Devotion. That's what he. Yeah, Devotion.
He's gonna be in Creed.
Yeah, which will be interesting to see because I feel like a lot of the mannerisms that he showed in this movie were similar to what we see in the trailer of Creed, and I'm interested to see if he's able to separate the two characters from each other.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like he already has to me, like in this movie. Like, obviously, there's things that will like be similar as far as their characters, but I don't know. I think I'm confident that he'll be good because I really enjoy him as an actor, and
I do too.
He's been in a lot of stuff recently, but
he was the bright spot of this movie for sure. For me,
he honestly. Yeah, he's literally the best thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Even he still has issues, not because of him.
It's not Jonathan Majors' fault.
Because of writing.
Yeah, so let's talk about one of those issues, at least for me. His power level consistency was dumb to me. It was super inconsistent with his power level. There's a scene.
I wouldn't even say inconsistent. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Like, in the sense that like the setup for his character is good.
Yeah.
And then we get to the climax and then he just fucking falls off a cliff.
Yeah. I was kind of explaining this to my wife that typically, or like a normal villain arc is supposed to, like, typically they start off not showing their full power and their full potential, and then as the climax progresses, the heroes or the protagonists, they start to gain an advantage, and then they realize, oh wait, the villain wasn't doing everything that he could, and then all of a sudden the villain has the advantage now.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what makes a good protagonist versus antagonist storyline. In this movie, he is super strong in the beginning and the middle, and then during the climax, he gets overrun by a bunch of ants.
He like regresses back.
Yeah. But really, like, there's nothing that they really did to make it happen either. All that happened was Scott cannonballed into the rings and destroyed his ship, and then a bunch of ants came and swarmed him. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just have a hard time believing one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy is capable of being overrun by enlarged ants.
Yeah, I mean, even before the ants, like the way a lot of the characters were talking and stuff, and I don't know if this was just because they were trying to like build morale to fight, but it all kind of came together in the sense of like they made his character sound like he wasn't what he initially was, and it just felt like they just went back because they were, they're like, oh, they can't, they're afraid because they can't fight us all at once, and I'm just like, when did you get that? Because I never got that intention, like idea, because I think that was Cassie, is that her name, the daughter?
Cassie,
said that when she was saying on the giant hologram thing.
You can't defeat us if we all...
I was like, I don't know if that was ever an issue. I feel like his character, from what it appears in the movie, like, I feel like he can literally just kind of like
wipe everybody.
Yeah, if he just wanted to, like literally like Thanos level, except he doesn't need the gauntlet. He just has the powers with his fucking suit or whatever. Because he's basically like all the stuff when he initially meets Antman and the Wasp, like he's just standing there and he's just like, yep, like, or so not the Wasp, Cassie.
That's what irked me is in that particular scene when Scott and Cassie are captured and they're in the jail of his place. Dude was standing and levitating people with his fingers.
Yeah,
he would like
using the force, like just lifting them, choking them, like
created a portal by just swiping his hand down and be like, "Here's a portal."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, open the doors."
Yeah,
and then when MODOK comes over, he's just like, "Go away."
Yeah, it was like it was dope. Like when
Yeah, it
that
was
happened,
super
I was
cool.
like, this is sick. Like this is what I imagined King the Conqueror to be.
And like when he does his, like the, and he like
Yeah.
explodes in the flashback scene.
Right.
It's huge, and it looks like he just kills like thousands of people at
Right.
once. But when he does it in the end, it's like,
Oh, here's
10
two
feet.
people. Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? What's going on?
No, I agree 100% that the inconsistency in his power level made the ending just unbelievable to me, especially because like, look, I like you, Ant-Man. I like you, Scott Lang, Paul Rudd. I like the character, but there's no reason why a dude in a suit that enlarges and goes and gets smaller is able to go to toe to toe with Kang the Conqueror.
No, all of these people in this movie
Yeah.
should have basically died.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I agree because it just doesn't make sense to me. And
Is there supposed to be more Ant-Man later?
I don't know. I thought that this was the end.
Because honestly, I feel like they should have just, because everything else is coming to an end, right?
Right.
Why didn't they just end it with the introduction of Kang and he just kills them all?
I thought that the ending when they send Kang down into the little ball or whatever, the engine thing, and then the portal closes on them, I thought that would have been a better way to end the movie, with Scott and Hope trapped down in the quantum realm and just they live their life there. It would have been to me it would have been a good ending where it's not like, oh, they're dead and like we had to be sad because they're dead. But Hope comes back through the portal to save Scott, solidifying their love for each other.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and then
the reason why I would not that I would rather, but it would make sense to me that they die is because then it kind of introduces the problem that is made in this movie, and the fact that how would they not be able to go back and just save them, which they do at the end,
right?
Like, I hate Cassie, but she makes this fucking machine that that's how they like get there in the first place, right? Like, why wouldn't they just do it again, which they do, and then they say, yeah, I do agree, like it doesn't feel good either way.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, that
logically it would be weird afterwards. Anyway. Like it would be if they didn't have the ability to go back. Right. I would much prefer that of the
being trapped down
being
there.
trapped, and they just go.
I wouldn't be opposed to them dying either, and that was kind of something that I was struggling with during the movie when I was watching it. I was thinking to myself, like, all right, this is a superhero movie, so obviously the hero has to win in some capacity, but this villain that they're fighting is also supposed to be the big bad villain that is supposed to be even more powerful, more terrifying than Thanos was.
Yeah.
And Thanos beat the crap out of everybody anytime he was on screen. So like,
even just because he's a fucking unit, without the gauntlet, he just beats the crap out of him.
Yeah. So like, I was wondering, like, how are they going to be able to balance giving us the hero protagonist ending with proving that this villain is somebody to be feared and worried about going forward into the rest of the movie. And I knew the variant aspect was going to come into play, but this particular Kang should. So I'm pretty sure that he's not dead. And
no, he's not dead.
Like this particular variant of Kang should play a larger role going forward because he is the outcast variant. He's the rule to the exception, or the exception to the rule. So like he should play a big part going forward. So I was wondering how they were going to do that, and I think they like half did it right. Like they gave us a good hero ending, but it also diminished the lethality and brutality of this variant of Kang. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it was mediocre to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the ending. I did like where it was initially going. On the fact that, like, when Antman's fighting Kang, when his suit's like wrecked up and stuff, and he's like, I don't need the win. We just both need to lose.
Yeah.
Which what sets up the like the not bad, but like like indifferent ending, but still lets everybody else
feel
like,
somewhat
survive.
Good.
Yeah. And go on.
Yeah. No, I do agree that would have been like that was good. And then they just veered off from there.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. It went in a different direction. But ultimately the way it ends, it does its job of setting up things. And the post-credit scenes, they do a good job of even furthering that as well. So it does its job in that. I have some more issues that I want to talk about as far as cohesiveness of topics and themes throughout the movie. Like, for example, in the beginning of the movie, before they end up in the quantum realm, I found it very odd and kind of like I was kind of upset about the way that Cassie and everybody treated Scott.
Oh, I fucking hated this.
I was really
this is the thing too. Like I said, I'm not even an Antman fan,
right?
But the disrespect,
right,
of him in this movie is so bad. The reason why I really hate it is because not necessarily just because they treat him kind of like shit. It's that same like thing that happens in like real life for a number of other like professions and stuff.
Sure, like military,
police, like whatever, like for many different jobs. And it's just so weird that they give him so much crap in this movie, and they're just like ungrateful for what he is and what he's done.
Yeah, like, I was really like I almost was disappointed in the writers and whatnot because I was like, hold on a second. This is an Avenger. This is somebody that risked his life to save the galaxy, like to save the entire timeline and half the people in it. Not just Earth, not just his family, but everyone in the entire galaxy. He put his life on the line to save them, and he succeeded. And without him, without Ant-Man, none of it would have been possible.
Right, like everybody played their role.
He was the answer. Because he was when he came back from the quantum realm. That was the only way that they knew that they could go back in time to the quantum realm. So without him, there would have been no chance of them bringing back everybody that disappeared in the blip. So, like that, that's who he is. And then they were treating him like this, like washed up hero. Like I equate it to almost like when Thor went and shut himself in the house and drank himself into dad bod and whatnot. like that kind of person. Yeah, I can kind of understand people giving him shit because he's
just like
he let himself go. And but Scott was just trying to live his life. He wrote a book. Like they were making fun of the fact that he wrote a book about his experience, and I was just like, why?
Everybody does that about everything.
What's wrong? But what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
He saved the world.
Yeah.
And now he just wants to tell his story, and he wants to just live his life and figure out what's next.
My biggest thing too is like, again, this is mostly from Cassie because the entire family's included, but she's the one like
she's spearheading
it, and she's like, I'm at least trying to. Okay, first of all, hold on. The fucking what was it? What's that word? The rioting or whatever. She was like protesting. Sorry, you're not doing anything. I'm sorry. What you do in the movie, you clearly weren't doing anything. Yeah. And on top of that, she's like, at least I'm still trying to keep pushing forward, but I'm not like holding on to the past, blah, 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 blah.
What more do you want from this dude?
You made this fucking like communication thing. That's it. What does that do? What does that directly do for humanity?
To fix the issues that you're talking about.
Like at least if it was like Hope saying this, okay. Because she's already done
she's doing all the humanitarian work and stuff.
That's exactly what I would expect. She would say that, but she doesn't. It's Cassie doing it.
Right.
What have you done? Nothing. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Your fucking suit too. I fucking hate it because guess what? Apparently you can go through the quantum realm in fucking Converse.
Yeah.
There's nobody like I don't know how many people pay attention to that, but like that's kind of a major thing. Like
they did say they were. Like when they first landed there, because only Scott and Hope were in their suits, and the father Hank and the mom.
Well, actually, Hope
Jen.
was the only one in her suit initially. He doesn't, and that's one thing I didn't care for about
he put it
Ant-Man.
on his way down.
Yeah, he doesn't do it until he absolutely needed to.
Yeah.
Whenever they get in, they're in danger, and I don't really understand. I guess it's because he just wants, like, I don't know if he just wants to move on from being Ant-Man, but for most of the movie, it was almost like he was trying to avoid doing things as much as possible.
No, I think he was. I think he was trying to. I think what he was trying to do was that issue that a lot of superheroes have, right? Is the identity issue. Is like, am I more than just this person that saves the day? Like, can I be more than that? And so I think that's part of what Scott was dealing with and why he wrote the book and everything. And so that translated into him being hesitant to use his suit and his abilities. As far as like going down into the quantum realm, initially in my head, I was like, what are you like? Because that was the whole premise of the first movie. Yeah. Or the second movie. No, first movie. The whole premise was that you can't like shrink down without a suit to make sure you don't die. Yeah. But the father, the mother, and Cassie all went down without a suit. And then when they got down there, they did do a good job of being like, why aren't we dead? Like, how did we survive that? But then later on, they never explained why. Yeah, they also never explained.
They don't do a good job because they should be dead. The only ones that should have survived technically would have been Hope, because nobody else was wearing their suits. And then obviously the parents didn't have one.
Yeah. They also don't do a pretty much almost no explanation of how the hell they got pulled down there in the first place. They eventually would find out that MODOK is the one that found their signal, but all he says is like, "Oh, thanks for your signal. That's how I found you." Yeah. It's like, okay, but how did you just pull all of them down into the quantum realm and protect them from dying as they shrunk down to an infinitesimal small
subatomic? Yeah.
It's like, well, there's no explanation on that at all throughout the rest of the movie. And that was one of the things that I was like, all right, that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. And then on top of that too, like,
real quick, let's just go back to, I want to just touch real quick on the whole, them treating him like shit thing, because it was really frustrating with watching him get just disrespected by everybody at like when they were all eating breakfast or whatever.
Because the joke part, like when he's walking around town, that's understandable.
And it's self-deprecating. Funny. He does it to himself.
Yeah.
And so
that's one thing.
Yeah.
But having this conversation with his family, that's a whole other thing.
And it wasn't them like being like them joking, like, oh, why don't you get a real job now that you're not a superhero? It was like, what are you doing with your life? I'm doing all of this. You haven't done it. It's like, whoa. This dude saved the world. Like, and what more do you want from him?
Like,
yeah, I was really frustrating, and it kind of set the tone for me going forward in the movie of just, I just felt like everything coming out of Cassie's mouth towards her father was just like it was an insult, or it was like her attacking him. And then there's this whole like sub theme about sticking up for the little guy, right? Like that's what he says in the book. And then Cassie's like, oh, we got to step in and help people that can't fight for themselves. And that translates down into the quantum realm when they get down there and they find the refugees or whatever.
Yeah.
And they want to help them. But then like that was the sub theme that they were trying to go for. But then I feel like it kind of got lost along the way, that sub theme. Like it just kind of fizzled out and didn't really amount to anything. And so then for me, retroactively, it made those scenes in the beginning lose gravitas. And it kind of was like, all right, well, now those don't really mean anything to me because you didn't like finish that theme.
Yeah.
Because then it just turned into Scott fighting for his daughter because he was trying to save his daughter, which I'm not opposed to that. Like I'm a father. I understand you're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure your kids and your family are safe. So like I'm not opposed to that. But then they just abandoned that theme. But in the beginning it was such a heavily present theme that it didn't. I don't know. It was like it was unfinished, and I didn't get any closure on that theme. You know?
Yeah. I hated Cass the whole
Cassie was really
you're
really bad.
You're also
piece,
you're a douche.
You had the suit the whole fucking time, and you waited until halfway through the movie to put it on. Be like, oh yeah, I have a suit now. It's like
suit minus the shoes.
yeah. It was frustrating. It's like, why didn't you just pull out the suit
she does
as soon
do this
as you
thing
got
that's,
down there?
That's reoccurring throughout the movie, which I hate the whole time. It's like, and it includes that initial interaction with the device that she made to contact the quantum realm.
Yeah.
When she's like, I know it's dangerous. Apparently not, because you just did the exact thing you weren't supposed to do. And then it happens again when they're in the realm, when she does put on her suit. And Antman's like, look, you need
training.
Was it jump and tap to fight?
Jumping in large, like use your inertia.
Yeah. And she's like, I know. And then she goes and does the thing and sucks. And they're like, no, you don't know.
He's like, are you sure?
When are you going to listen to somebody?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it. Especially because she's supposed to be like a grown adult. Like, she's not a teenager angst kid anymore. Like, she's supposed to be in college and
yeah. So now she's
an adult.
She's like holding on to the teen angst, but with a little bit of the typical
I'm
like
an adult.
college.
I can do whatever I want thing.
Yeah, wants to help everybody, but sucks at everything.
Sucks at everything. Yeah, There's a lot of those reoccurring things. Like, they touch on stuff and they show some cool stuff, but then it doesn't really get finished. It doesn't fully get fleshed out, and it kind of leaves you wanting more.
Yeah.
You know, like, one of the things that I was really hoping for, like I talked about in the spoiler-free section, was getting to see more of the quantum realm and experiencing more of the visuals and how things work down there. Does gravity work different? Does, where do all these people come from? Like, they kind of touch on it, but they don't really expand on it, and they don't really talk about, like, who are all these different species? Like, this dude has a light beam that just comes out of his head.
Yeah,
this guy is a telepath and can read your mind. This guy doesn't have any holes, and when you drink his fluid, it makes you be able to understand anybody. Like,
I actually really liked that.
Oh, it was great. And the best part was when at the end, when he's like, I have holes, and he just starts swallowing people up.
Yeah, he was. Well, the side characters in this movie actually are really good.
Yeah,
even the broccoli guy.
So what's your story? So I was expecting more explanation and a little bit more depth to those kinds of things, and it didn't come, and it was just disappointing throughout the movie. So yeah, that's kind of the story of this movie for me.
One thing I really did not like is they pulled I think it's Last Jedi, with the whole ends, and they're like, it's when I think they're like, Cass is with that other lady, and they're like trying to break out. It's like after they do the message, and then they're like, actually maybe it's Rise of Skywalker, I forget. But they're getting surrounded, and then like all the people come all at once to save out of nowhere and like start fighting everybody and kind of like save them and overpower the whatever army that Kang has.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know which Star Wars movie.
I forget which one it is.
No, it is Last Jedi, because all the ships come out of hyperspeed.
Because they didn't even know if they were getting help, and then it's like, oh, I guess we're not, and then all of a sudden, like, all of them just show up, and it's like millions of them, and it's like, what the fuck?
Same thing with like the ants at the very end. It's like, okay, I was wondering where the hell Hank was the whole time.
Yeah, because I don't even remember him like splitting up. Like, I know they were together and he was talking about the ants.
Right.
And then that's it. Then he was just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, where's Hank? And it's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Another thing that irked me was Janet's character. Just because, like, her character is believable to me in the fact that, like, while she was down there, everything that happened, sure. But it was so annoying, the whole thing about her not telling him. Like, it's okay, you didn't tell them at all anything about what happened to you down there. I get it, you're scarred, you have issues, you have trauma, you don't want to talk about it, but eventually you should be opening up. And then on top of that, like, once they get down there initially, like when they first get down there, that ship comes and is like scanning. She's like, oh, keep your eye on the tree. And then she's like, shh, you gotta be quiet. And they're like, well, blah, blah, like, you need to tell us what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I'm not going to tell you guys anything right now. We need to go find Scott and Cassie, and then we need to be quiet, because we need to be quiet. And then 2 seconds later, she's talking like everything is just normal, and she's explaining like, oh, this and that. And it's like, which one is it, woman? Like, do you need to be quiet because you might get caught, or are you just going to go on a monologue telling people what happened to you while you were down here?
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of irritating. Mostly just for the fact that I don't like when characters are overly avoiding sharing information just
that
because
is
they're
extremely pertinent to the
just
situation.
Because the movie needs that in order for you to not be like ahead of the movie.
Yeah, that is fair.
But it's just so irritating because it's retarded. Like, yeah, as soon as they landed, she should have just been like, all right, hold up. Before we do anything, I'm just going to explain the whole thing right now so you understand the situation, and then we can go do it. Or at least do it while you're walking or something.
I'm basically like the enemy of the entire place down here. Like, I'm like, a big deal down here, just so you guys know. I also, did it with Bill Murray, and just so you know, Hank, had needs, all right?
Yeah,
that scene was hilarious to me, but
it was funny. It was a little weird. The other is I don't know. It just felt weird. It was funny, but it like felt weird at the same time. But just because it's like I know in the universe it was like 30 years.
Yeah.
So I understand. But the way it's shown on screen, it's like you act like it happened. The other day. So like the reactions don't match what I imagine the true outcome would be, like, because it's like a lifetime almost, 30 years, it's a long time.
Yeah. And she had no idea that she was getting back. So of course,
because obviously, like, Hank,
it's like if you died,
he feels like some type of way about it. But and I don't know, but I can't imagine you would feel like he did like that much. 30 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long time.
Because he did admit that he
I know he like had a
relationship too, or whatever, but
never worked out. But
I don't know. It's just funny to me.
Yeah,
just because Bill Murray.
Yeah,
Bill Murray's character was funny. Yeah. I don't really have much more to say about the movie. I enjoyed, like I said in the spoiler-free section, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed certain aspects of it.
What do you think about MODOK?
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point. We should talk about MODOK. All right, so MODOK is another one of those situations for me where it was funny, I liked it, but then it just left, like, it didn't get finished to me. It left me wanting more, and then all of a sudden he turned into a good guy, and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
So MODOK, for you guys that haven't watched it, is mechanized organism designed only for killing.
MODOK.
So he is actually Darren from the first movie, the Hornet, or Yellow Jacket. Sorry, the Yellow Jacket guy. And then at the end of the first movie, Scott like busts up his suit and it makes him shrink down, and we thought that he just died, but it turns out he was sent down into the quantum realm, and he ended up like this with a giant head and small limbs.
Yeah.
And then Kang found him and turned him into his like top henchman or whatever, his top Hunter. Assassin.
Yeah.
And so now he's MODOK, the mechanized organism designed only for killing. And he's feared by everybody, and the humor about it is funny, because the best thing I liked about it is that every time he would try to explain about what he was doing or who he was and how it happened, he'd get cut off by either Scott or Hank or whoever. Is like, what? Like, what are you doing down here? So that was funny, and even like up until the end when Cassie ends up like defeating him. Because he's chasing her, trying to kill her. Cassie ends up defeating him, and then she's like, just don't be a dick. Like that. Up until that point, I was like, all right, like, not bad. Like,
yeah,
there's still some things that I would have liked to know, and like, could have been done differently. And I just like, I don't know. That Darren in this as MODOK is not the Darren I remember from the first movie.
No,
I remember him being super narcissistic, super full of himself. Didn't need anybody's approval or anything. So now that he's like this, it's just a little weird. But Then at the end of the movie, he's kind of like what ultimately defeats Kang, because Kang is in his bubble, his Ward of Dawn from Destiny. I don't know if he has played Destiny, but he's got his little bubble up and he's protecting himself from against the ants. And then MODOK comes in and like crashes through the bubble. Or
not a dick.
It was funny, but I was like, really? Like,
yeah, I mean, I was not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think it was really funny. Like, I know it's supposed to be, but it wasn't to me, because I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Why is this what causes
dumb trope?
Yeah. First of all, like, his character, you weren't really like as I don't know, like evil as I would expect you to be. And then on top of that, like, now all you did was fly into his portal. Your face comes through and it's very big and funny and weird looking, and it's like, that's what stops Kang.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah, didn't like it. And then,
because again, like, even with his character similar to Kang, it's like in the beginning he does seem cool and he seems powerful, and then immediately, like, all of it's gone. Now he's just a bumbling idiot. And can't do anything. Yeah, I'm just like, what?
I agree. I don't like it. I didn't like it. And it makes the overall tone of the movie in the heat of things. It lightens it too much, right? Like, Antman is known for its humor because Antman himself is funny. Paul Rudd is funny. He's a comedian, right? So we expect the humor, and we expect it to lighten the mood, but if you have too much humor and you try to interject it into the climax or the final third act and whatnot, a lot of times it can displace the focus of the like the situation, right? The situation is dire. If Kang gets out of the quantum realm, he's going to destroy worlds and he's going to become virtually unstoppable.
Yeah.
And all you have is a dude that can blow up into a giant wavy, wacky, inflatable man.
Yeah, or get really small.
Yeah, or get really small. And so the situation is dire. Like, it should be serious. And then they interject all this humor into it, and to me, it just lightens it too much to the point where I didn't really care about, like, how bad the situation was, because I was just like, all right, well, it can't be that bad if we're laughing about stuff. You know what I mean? Like, at no point,
everybody's kind of like makes it seem like it's not really that big of a deal.
At no point did I feel like they were gonna lose. At no point did I feel like, oh shit, maybe Kang is gonna get out, and now we're gonna have a situation where, like, they're gonna have to figure out how to defeat him on the outside of the quantum realm.
Yeah.
At no point did I feel that way. And the whole time I was like, oh yeah, well, they're gonna figure out some way to trap him or whatever. So that's the disadvantage to having too much humor and humor interjected into the wrong places. So
yeah. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is which maybe you can let me know.
Sure.
And I just don't know, because I don't care, and I forgot a lot about the first. I mean, I only just watched the second movie the day before I watched it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said you had never watched it.
But I don't even remember the first movie either. But what does that suit do specifically?
Which suit?
All of them.
All of them?
Like Antman.
Yeah.
The Wasp and Cassie, whatever she is going to be. What do those suits do?
So the suit is supposed to harness Pym particles it started out with them shrinking,
right? And
then they figured out how to make it enlarge. But the suit is supposed to, like, contain and regulate the energy so that it doesn't burn the person up or make them too cold or whatever. It's like supposed to be like an exosuit that just kind of regulates the energy transfer as they go small and get big.
Okay. So it's basically just astronaut suit that can survive the changing of sizes.
It is not an Iron Man suit that can survive bullets.
Yes, this is where I'm going to. Is I did not understand, and again, because I don't care about the characters that much, I just didn't know. But I just kind of assumed and thought it was weird that they were just indestructible in this movie. All of them.
So it is something that I think is kind of just the only like it happened because of how big he was. Like they are assuming people are going to associate the fact that Scott Lang and Cassie were so big that they can take on more damage. I could be wrong, but the suits are not designed to.
They're not meant for combat.
They
right?
probably can. They probably can withstand some level of damage, but they're not. It's not Iron Man. They're not.
Well, because the only thing that ever really gets damaged that I notice is the little like motherboard thing.
Yeah, and then Scott's helmet gets messed up. At
Oh
the
yeah,
end,
I mean, yeah,
but,
he gets beat up.
he is beat
Which
up.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was
but
great.
again, it's like, what? Which one is it?
Yeah,
is he gonna beat you up and you're gonna die or not? Like, but yeah. So
yeah,
I was
not
just
supposed
curious.
to be. It's not supposed to be a damage-proof exoskeleton.
Yeah, because I just thought it was weird, like that when he was big. You know,
Yeah.
I get it, you're big, but yeah, bullets are still bullets.
Yeah.
So you getting shot by his entire army can't feel good. Because
shouldn't
even in
be-
the Avengers, doesn't he get beat up all like while he was
Yeah.
big? So why does he not feel anything here?
I don't know.
That's like,
So,
I
I
just
don't
thought
know.
it was weird.
I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah. Okay. I was just
It
curious.
serves the purpose of the movie.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
why.
I get it. Obviously, it would have made issues, but like, I was just curious because I was like, don't
I think
you're
that I think that, like I said, it withstand a little bit, but it shouldn't be where he can just fucking tank all damage.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it not affect
well, that's
him
the
at all.
well, but see, the problem is even Hope does the same thing, and she doesn't grow
Yeah.
big. When he first blows up, like like
Yeah,
enlarges himself, she flies straight through a ship,
yeah.
and then acts like because she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help too," just flies right through a ship.
What?
Who are you? What did you just do? And then right after that, she's like, "Oh, I can't take them all." Of course you can't. Like you guys are I'm just gonna say it, like you guys are nobodies. Like sure, you got like your powers because of the suits, but like you're not a super like
You're
human.
not a metahuman. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't do anything. But how did you just fly through that ship right there? I'm just like, that's so weird.
They use the excuse of the inertia of going from small to big, like that energy is how they destroy things. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree. It's a little.
I
little
have
much.
Okay, yeah. If that's the case, then I have a lot of problems with that. Like scientifically wise,
Right.
that's probably wrong.
No,
Like
yeah.
I can't even like I imagine that would be even worse doing that. And I feel like you would probably just because even when they're driving the car in the beginning, when
Yeah.
Hope first kidnaps Scott or whatever in her whatever vehicle, I thought it was weird that she went and shrunk the car to drive because that's counterproductive. You're now driving instead of a normal car, normal size, going like we'll say like 3 blocks or 6 blocks, whatever. That which we'll say is like, I don't know, 6 miles. If you shrink yourself, now you're looking at a travel distance of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a week or something ridiculous.
week.
Like you're so small.
Yeah.
Like, your efficiency is
Yeah.
crazy small. Like I don't. Is that weird to think about
No.
that?
Scientifically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Even when.
Because I feel like the whole appeal is science, right? For
Right.
like quantum and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's like that doesn't seem right. I don't know.
No, you are right in that sense. It also kind of bugs me with like when she does, or even when Scott, any of them shrink down, they can just run super fast. Like the suit isn't.
Oh, is that a thing?
Well, just like think about it. Like they're like
Just
they're like
flying around.
running, like they're running at the same pace they would be if they were large, but they're small.
Yeah.
So they're able to like cover big distances really quickly. The only time they can't is when they fight Kang, but it's insinuated that Kang has the ability, like, I don't know, fucking super focus, and he just like
Well, yeah,
swats
I
them
mean-
out of the air. But like,
Well,
to me,
yeah.
that's what should happen for a lot of it. Is be like,
Yeah. Just like
there's an ant running at me.
like oh no. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's something I've always been wondering. It's like, why is this a hero? Like, what can you possibly do? Like, when you're big, okay, that's one thing. But it's actually not unique to this, is I hate when anything that has something large, it's like,
oh, it slows down. Yeah.
You realize like the scale of you wouldn't change. Like
the velocity and the speed doesn't change.
Yeah, just because you're bigger. I know that's because people look at it and you're like, oh, it must go so slow because he's so big. No, if you can just do normal things when you get bigger, it's still normal to you.
Yeah,
the relative, it stays the same. So it's just like, I don't know, it's weird, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to point that out because that's what I've been thinking about.
I think we're looking too far into the science today. I think it's too far, too deep.
But it's science. This quantum
deep, man. It's too deep.
Subatomic.
Yeah, it's too deep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We're curious to know what you guys thought about this movie if you watched it. Are you guys middle of the road like we are, or did you guys enjoy this movie more? Let us know down in the comments below. We'd really love to hear from you guys. We welcome any and all conversation, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. So stay tuned for more episodes this week, ladies and gentlemen. Please subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media links down in the description below, as well as the other shows here on Any Kind Media. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Quantum episode.